The hospital was founded in 1247 as the Priory of the New Order of Our Lady of Bethlehem, in London during the reign of Henry III. Originally the hospital was near Bishopsgate just outside the walls of the City of London. It moved a short distance to Moorfields in 1676, and then to St. George's Fields in Southwark in 1815, before moving to its current location in Monk's Orchard in 1930. Bethlem is the oldest extant psychiatric hospital in European history. It has been open on a continuous basis for more than 6 centuries. It is unknown when Bethlem, or Bedlam, began to specialize in the care and control of the insane, but it has been frequently asserted that Bethlem was first used for the insane from 1377. Little is known about the hospital during the medieval era, but treatment was much the same. Mental disorder was thought to result from either an imbalance, or more usually an abnormality, in one of the 4 humors believed to be important in determining individual differences: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, choler, and black bile. Melancholy. Being admitted to Bedlam, as it was called, didn't necessarily mean a person was well on their way to being rehabilitated, since treatment implied little more than isolation and experiment. In 1675, the facility, shabby and in desperate need of additional space, moved north of London to the Moorfields. As ever more schizophrenics, epileptics, and those with learning disabilities crowded into the facility, Bethlem twisted into Bedlam, and patient treatment took a turn for the sinister. One such approach was rotational therapy. A patient would be placed in a chair and suspended from the ceiling. The chair was then spun at the direction of a doctor, sometimes at more than 100 rotations a minute. The patient would often vomit and experience extreme vertigo, but these were seen as healthy reactions with the potential for healing. Perhaps most humiliating of all, was the time period when the facility opened its doors to the public. Initially the policy hoped to draw in family members to visit their loved ones. Unfortunately, wealthy Londoners often paid money to roam the halls of Bedlam, taking in the zoo-like conditions and marveling at the psychosis around them. Of course, the vast majority of those who found themselves at Bedlam had not come from wealth or even the middle class. Patients were often poor, uneducated, and had been victimized not only by whatever mental infirmities they possessed but a society that was repelled by them. The Bedlamites, as they were nicknamed, had been subjected to horrific treatments, both experimental and some downright cruel, and were often desired only for the study of their corpses. Others were simply thrown into a mass grave on Liverpool Street, which was only discovered a few years ago. From 1773 public access ended with the introduction of a system whereby visitors required a ticket signed by a governor. Visiting subjected Bethlem's patients to many abuses, including being poked with sticks by visitors or otherwise taunted, given drinks and physically assaulted or sexually harassed. But its curtailment removed an important element of public oversight. In the period thereafter, with staff practices less open to public scrutiny, the worst patient abuses occurred. In the 18th and 19th centuries, patients were continually starved and beaten. During this brutal period, a Quaker philanthropist, Edward Wakefield, visited Bethlem in 1814 and described seeing naked and starved men chained to walls. In 1829, William Scrivener was found dead from strangulation after being strapped to his bed in a straitjacket and left overnight without supervision. During the 19th century, as the institution moved from St. George's Fields in Southwark to its current home in Bromley, Females suffered a lot more and were typically locked up in madhouses for a range of conditions that today would not be considered to show signs of insanity. They would often suffer from postnatal depression, alcoholism or senile dementia and social transgressions such as infidelity, and still get sent away. Around 200 years ago, it was easy for Britons to persuade two doctors to sign certificates of insanity which would put inconvenient or embarrassing relatives in a madhouse. Women, who had a lower social status and typically had less power and money, were more vulnerable and therefore were sent away simply if their husband had got fed up with them. Please like and subscribe. Also follow me on Instagram and TikTok at DuckHistory2021.